Good evening and welcome to the Volunteer Forum, coming to you from the Montrose Fire Brigade here in District 13 of the North East region. I'd like to start tonight's Volunteer Forum by acknowledging the traditional lands to which we broadcast from you tonight and pay my respects to elders past and present, particularly those of the Wurundjeri Nation that we come from here this evening, and welcome any elders of other Aboriginal communities that might be watching us this evening. Well, for something a little bit different, I've started tonight's forum sitting with the audience, and I found a few friends here, our CEO, Greg Leach, and our board member, Peter Shaw. I'm glad to see you came tonight, Peter. Being a local, I'd be a bit disappointed if I didn't see you in the district here. Very good. And we're joined by many brigade members from not only the Montrose Fire Brigade, but also many brigades here in District 13. Now, you might be watching right now and thinking, why is the chief in his yellows? Well, keep watching because you'll find out soon enough on tonight's forum. As always, Tell us where you're watching from. Throw it into the chat as well. We've got many senior managers, other than you, Greg. I guess you're not on there tonight answering questions. But many of our other senior managers from across the organisation are online waiting to receive your questions, providing you the answers that you need, as well as tell us, as I said, where you're coming from and pop it into the chat there this evening. A really big show tonight, so let's see what's coming up. Well, we're back, and I'm glad to be joined by Liz Peters of the Montrose Fire Brigade, Community Safety Coordinator Extraordinaire. And I'm in front of some maps here and some paraphernalia and posters and the like that many brigades and people may have already seen arriving at your brigade station, as well as we did a launch only the other day at the Sassafras Fire Brigade around Get Fire Ready Victoria. Liz, what is this all about?
So I think Get Fire Ready was actually your brainwave, I've been told. So it is about getting fire ready. It's about getting your properties ready, about knowing your information to keep you, your family, your property, those around you, neighbours, everybody safe. So yeah, we're having a couple of fire ready events this month. We've got one on Sunday, our Fire Safe Essentials session, and we've got our open day coming up on October 19th, where we will be sharing the word.
Excellent. So for the people of Montrose, tell us what that will look like.
So Sunday it will be an information session where we will actually be using these lovely maps that you've just given us, and that will be around the risks for your property specifically, the local risks, and what you can do to get your property prepared and hopefully spread the word in your neighbourhood so that your neighbours are prepared as well.
Excellent. Well, let's step through some of these maps, but I am going to publicly clear the record, ladies and gentlemen. I may have been the instigator, but I've got to give credit to my wife, Melissa, who's watching, who used to do the Get Ready program in New South Wales, who obviously triggered the idea in my mind, and as well as the map. So well done, Mel, and let's see it in fruition here in Victoria. So step us through the maps in this one in particular. What are we looking at?
Okay, so this is a local map of our brigade area. As you can see, you've got all your properties on this one. It's sort of a bit of a Melways kind of design, I suppose. So here where you've got your red, this is a bushfire area. Down here where you've got your orange, this is a bushfire and potential grass fire. So you could be at risk from both. And we've got a few areas down here which are likely to or could be impacted by grass fire.
So the idea being that I'm a local resident, I come in, I meet my local fire brigade, say g'day, get to know each other. We come over to the map and I sort of, well, I live here, or, geez, I live here. It's under a bit of a red hatching here. Can you tell me what that means? And it's a bit of a conversation starter.
Definitely. To get these maps, we only got them today, so I'm very excited by this because it's a conversation starter and it's a visual prompt. I think it can be quite difficult. You can sort of, that you're in a bushy area, but you come up to the map and you go, oh, I live here. And then all of a sudden you're surrounded by red and it makes the brain start working.
And so that's map one, but then we move over to map two. And map two puts a bit of context and reality to what we're looking at because now we've got the aerial image overlay, haven't we?
Correct. So this is the same map, I guess, but a little bit more detailed in where your danger spots are. So it's, as a local, step away from the brigade, this would scare me if I saw it. Mm-hmm. So
now, it wasn't that long ago, we had a fire here in Montrose. So can you step me through where that was and I guess, why it's important that we educate communities that you actually don't need to live, surrounded by mass bushland to be at risk of bushfire?
Right, so the bushfire in March started in this area down here. The wind was kind of blowing in this direction. So all of these houses up here that aren't directly threatened by bush or what have you, these were all being inundated by embers. And people sort of, might brush that off a little bit. If you've got dry leaves in your gutters and you've got an ember that drops into your gutter, that can very, very quickly start a house fire, as we know, and you can lose your property with the bushfire kilometres away. And embers can travel great distances. Like I think from Black Saturday, they were talking 35 kilometres.
Well, in fact, we saw that not that long ago, I've got to say, with the Grampians fires. But as you say, it's cleaning your gutters so those embers don't catch alight there. Yep. It's keeping your lawn mowed, keeping the long grass, the dry, dead long grass, maintained. One that I often mention sometimes is, and people sort of look at me a bit strangely, but depends upon what sort of doormat that you have, because yes, tell me why.
Yeah. Well, you can have a doormat that's highly flammable, or you can have one that's not so highly flammable, but if an ember lands on one that is flammable, off it goes.
Those dry straw things that you see are
right.
Probably not the best doormat to have during a bushfire season. So they're the maps. So obviously taking community through that, having those conversations, pointing out the risks and the like. We've got these other posters down here about obviously getting to know your community, getting to know your town, how to get the preparations, but also we've got a thing here about the Vic Emergency app and setting watch zones. Why is that so important?
So with the Vic Emergency app, with your watch zone, you can set it to a certain radius. I think I've got mine probably set a little bit smaller than other people, but I get the information anyway. So you can set it to 5, 10, 20 kilometre radius from your house, and that will give you the information that you might need in that time of emergency. So you can have bushfires, floods, all of that sort of stuff set up. And if you do have that set up, it will give you that information quickly.
Yeah, so it actually, the Vic Emergency app pings you and lets you know that it gives you a notification that there's something happening in your watch zone,
yep.
And you should have a bit of a look. And that's that's great, but it's also we've got the emergency alert system that goes along with that as well, the telephony alert system. So it's about having both in tandem, really, isn't it?
Well, that's right. And you're also wanting to use other sources of information as well. You don't want to rely on just one or two. You need to be, listening to your radios and all of that sort of stuff as well.
And a lot of people sort of think about and not really realise that during large-scale bushfires, and sometimes not even a large-scale bushfire, you lose power pretty quickly. What happens when you lose power at home?
Well, you lose your sources of information because most people will go to their phones which requires their internet, which requires power. So it's always great to have your backup sources, to have phone chargers and things like that. But there's, great wind-up radios where you literally just wind a handle and it will power it. And then they're great to have in an emergency kit. Definitely. Yeah,
and so as we always say when we do the press conferences during summer, always have two sources of information and listen to the ABC, your emergency broadcaster. So Liz, I've got in my hand what I've been calling the goodie bag,
yes,
which I probably get in trouble for doing so, but the show bag, the information bag, the life-saving kit. Can you talk me through, I guess, what we have in here?
Behind you, it's all up on the board. So we've got Your Guide to Survival, which is full of great information for the members of our community, what to do, what they can do to prepare. We've also got Your Guide to Property Preparation, which is obviously your guide to how to prepare your property so that you can be ready for the fire season. Can I, can't I? These are a valuable tool for the CFA in what you can and can't do during the fire danger period, or if it's a total fire ban.
So if I can have my barbecue on a day of total fire ban?
Yep. Can I use my chainsaw? Can I use my lawnmower? Mm-hmm. Those type of things. So that is a very valuable resource for us in the CFA. Obviously, we've got you. Can you give us a hand? Because we're always
never miss an opportunity to recruit.
Right. We're always recruiting. And I've just spotted down there we've got a new magnet, which is about how to set your watch zone around your house. So you scan your QR code, and that I think talks you through how to set your watch zone in Vic Emergency. So that's great. I will probably add stuff to your little goodie bag myself, but that's a great starting point for knowing your information and what you need.
So if you are watching and you do want to come in and get one of these kits, go to the CFA website, cfa.vic.gov.au, click on Get Fire Ready. There's an interactive map showing over 500 brigades across the state that will be opening their doors every weekend this month to provide locals essential information on how to get ready. You'll be able to get one of these bags, everything, and even better yet, you'll be able to talk to your local firefighters about your local risks and what you can do to prepare this summer. So any parting words that you might want to have to those watching tonight and the local residents of Montrose?
If you're a local resident of Montrose, Sunday, 1:30 p.m. here, we are having our first Fire Ready session, which is our fire safety essentials. You will get your goodie bag and you will be able to sit and have a chat with us about what you need to prepare. And again, on Sunday, the 19th of October, is our open day, which will be a lot of fun, and there'll be a lot of hands on decks to share that information.
As Dan Olsdirect once said, but wait, there's more. The local residents here at Montrose get 2 bites of the cherry to come in and talk to you, Liz, and the fantastic crew here at the Montrose Fire Brigade. But as I said, many brigades across the state will be opening up their doors, including the Wye River Fire Brigade, who have taken community engagement and getting ready for fire season very seriously. So let's have a look to see what the Wye River Fire Brigade have been up to.
Well, once again, it's interesting that, you have a significant event like 10 years ago, but the longer that time passes from that event, people kind of forget, and they maybe kind of let their guard down and stuff in terms of preparing their properties and around their properties, getting their firebox or fire bag ready if they do need to evacuate, what they need to evacuate with, and those kind of important things that you should, make sure that you take with you. So so once again, we just got to keep tapping away each year with people just to remind them that it's really important that they do that stuff. The council, the Jalowicki Shire has been fantastic through our engagement with them. They have a green skip scheme that runs for about 6 weeks in the lead up to Christmas, and so there's both here and in Kennett River. There's the large skips that are dropped, and people are able to clean their property, clear vegetation and dump them in the skips. So it's been a great way to assist people who maybe otherwise would struggle to burn or clean up their property otherwise. So it's just about keep tapping away at it and hoping that people, don't just become complacent, because that's always the main risk.
I think in our community here and communities further abroad, recognising that there are risks in areas like this. We have bushfire risk is a serious threat on occasions. Our area this year and over the last couple of years has been a high risk area, and yet planning is going to be a big part of preventing any major catastrophes. As far as having a plan is recognising that if there's a fire here, you don't really want to be here. In our community, specifically, I've heard some conversations around people using the place of last resort as their place of first resort, and that's not exactly how that place is designed. So considering where you really want to be and where you want your family to be in an event like a major bushfire in our area.
Well, thanks to the Wye River Brigade, some really great information there, and I know the Brigade will also be having an open day, inviting a local community in and again talking about the local risks and what it means for that community who, as we know, has known the devastation of bushfires thanks to the Christmas Day fires of 2015. And a big shout out to Hackey and the Wye River Brigade, because our next forum will be coming to you from the Wye River Brigade, and I look forward to going down there and sharing the experience with the crew. Well, we're on the panel, and I have some new friends here joining me. Matt Jalowicki. Jalowicki. Yep. So I did apologise before, I said I'd get that wrong. Captain of the Montrose Fire Brigade.
Yep.
Thank you for letting us invade your station this evening.
Thanks for coming.
Not a problem. Liz has returned. Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome.
And we have Michelle Masterton. And Michelle, you're going to be talking to us a little later on about something very special locally, so I'm looking forward to that. But first, Liz mentioned when we were up at the map about the Montrose fire back in March.
Yep.
Matt,
tell us all about the Montrose fire.
well, where do I start? It was a long day and a long night. Look, it started around early afternoon from memory. We got reports of some smoke out the back of Stradbroke Road around Lavertia Reserve, and we responded from there with our neighbouring brigades, and we had smoke showing when we responded, and slowly from there it got bigger and bigger with the wind and the spotting. So,
And of course, overnight, you thought you had it, and then along came Mother Nature and did something pretty weird to you.
yeah, so it was about 7 o'clock in the evening, around there, when I was leaving the DivCom to hand over for the night. It was under control when I left. We had done our briefs with the crews and that had come in for night shift just to patrol the area. And so I left 7 o'clock. I come back here, just talked to some of the members, had a drink, something to eat, and then thought I'd go home and have a rest.
The fire thought differently.
Yeah, well, it was, I got home, spoke to my family, sat down for a little bit, thought I'll go have a shower, get some rest, and then I've received a text message to say, we believe the fire's gone, not yet under control, and I'm looking at it thinking, how? When I left, it was fine. Everything was fine. So I said to my wife, I said, I'll just go for a drive back up to the station and just have a look what's going on. Well, I didn't even get to the station, and by then the pager had gone crazy. And we started getting multiple calls around the area. So once again, we got back on our trucks and we went to that, and the wind had picked up, and from there turned pretty nasty.
Well, we like a bit of audience participation here on the forum, and we've got Peter who's joining us. And Peter, I believe you might have been on a sector during that fire. Do you want to talk to us about your experience and what you saw and what you encountered?
What we saw was a big fire. I took over from Matt and chicken captain at the back there, Corey. On the day, we had a sector, we just completed a burn-off at the bottom to clean up an edge down off Sheffield Road, behind some of the big properties there. We just completed that. We were about getting prepared to do a second one, when all of a sudden we got a message back that had jumped over, was slopped over from Parks Victoria on Fire Management. So sent 3 of the trucks that I had out to straight away up to Kirkwood and Crestview, and as Matt said, it was off and running. We went into protection with the houses there, just doing a lot of asset protection, but the main thing was, the only way we're going to do asset protection was fight the fire. A lot of residents were still in their houses, didn't have a clue. Liz spoke before about the fire ready. Police come up, I asked them to evacuate both Kirkwood and Crestview. They went to one house and there was a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 children. They were unaware there was even a fire up there during the daytime. They'd been inside playing a video game with the air conditioner going. Then when the police knocked on the door and told them they had to get out, they said, why? Then they looked outside and the embers were hitting the roof of their car and all the rest of the stuff. So it was off and running. And I had 6 trucks in my sector that I was working on, and they worked unbelievably. We lost one house, but the potential to lose, and I think as Matt and Liz had highlighted, the potential could have been 10 to 15. That was the initial response come back. And Dave Rankin, our big boss man, well, not a big boss man apart from you. I think you were all on the blower thinking we'd lost half of Montrose. No, we didn't. We saved it all apart from one house and a cubby house and 3 fences. So we did a miraculous job.
Yeah, well done. I think it's a really massive effort by our CFA crews, FRV and Forest Fire Management Victoria, and all the emergency services coming together. And as you say, Peter, like to have just that singular loss based upon the conditions that were experienced at the time is quite a testament to the hard-working efforts of the emergency services and the firefighters on the ground. So well done and congratulations. Liz, I guess we had a chat and we've just heard from Peter about perhaps people not I guess having an appreciation about what was going on at the time potentially. Talk me through, because you weren't on the truck that day, were you?
No, I wasn't. I was experiencing some severe FOMO. I'd actually had surgery on my knee 4 days before the fire had started. So when it started in the afternoon, I actually sort of watched it from down the road. My son was interested in the helitack coming in and everything. Mm-hmm. And then we made our way up here and the phones were going crazy and there was, people everywhere that hadn't got on the initial trucks. And so we were busy dealing with all of that sort of stuff. And then as Matt said, it sort of became under control and that was fine. And people started to go home to rest. And then all of a sudden I was actually on the phone to a friend who's part of our group. And they said, your page is going off. And obviously I was on my phone. I'd actually turned my physical pager off because I was, out of action. And I said, oh, what for? And she said, oh, house under ember attack. And I just thought, oh no, oh no. So I got in the car and I raced back up here. And again, it was chaos, but I was driving up Swansea Road and all I could see was that big ball of orange. And I was just like, oh, this is nasty. So I got up here and then I'd had a couple of people pop onto our Facebook and ask questions.
What's going on? Yep.
Yeah, what's going on, rah, rah. So I then got onto our Facebook page and was just updating the Vic emergency warnings and all of that sort of thing. And that social media element really came into play actually following the fire, not so much, I think, during the fire. So it all just, went from there. And
And look, comment from Tim there about a fantastic job around the community engagement during the fire. So you have some fans out there, Liz, with what you managed to do that evening. And I guess, again, it's about keeping community informed, because an informed community makes informed decisions.
That's correct.
And leads to better outcomes, all around.
Yeah.
Both in terms of, I guess, community survivability, the people within the community, but a lot of people probably don't realise it also very much helps the firefighters, because when you have informed communities that have made the right decisions, whether that be leave early or whatever it happens to be, then it allows firefighters to focus on firefighting as opposed to doing other things. So
that's right, and a prepared property is, we're always going to try and go the prepared property because it's easier and safer for us as firefighters to protect that property.
And it also helps when you have one truck, many homes in the street.
That's right.
You got to make, don't you, mate? You got to make those hard decisions every time to sort of think about which driveway do you go down.
Yeah, and there was a lot of long driveways down off Sheffield Road, and to pick the right one that we could get in makes it very hard. So you gotta have that knowledge as well. And
do you often experience driveways where you can't get the fire truck down?
There is some driveways that we can't get down. The trucks are big, but yeah, there is some driveways, but that sort of area where that fire was along Sheffield Road and that, they're pretty long driveways. The houses are set down the back, so it was easy going. It's just if there's gates and the gates are locked, then it makes it a bit harder. But no, we didn't have too many problems.
And I think that's sort of, again, Liz, from a community engagement type perspective, And Danny Jones, who's online tonight answering plenty of infrastructure questions, is going to hate me for saying this because I'm going to generalise here on truck dimensions, and the engineering in him will have a bit of a wig out, so sorry, Dan. But yeah, when you're looking at a truck that's approximately 3 metres wide, potentially 3 to 4 metres high, 8 metres long. You need room, yeah. And part of that getting ready for summer is making sure that the fire brigade can get in your driveway.
That's right, and not even just driveways. We've got some pretty small roads around here, so even just thinking about where you're parking your car, if you are parking it out on the road and your neighbours parked their car out on the road, it could block us from getting in, and we lose valuable time.
So, as I said, lots of good people watching from around the country this evening. In fact, a big shout out to Lee from, I'm going to probably say this wrong, but I apologise, Nullahumby in the Northern Territory. And Linda and Tom from Chittaway Bay in New South Wales, welcome this evening. Michelle, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, you're from an important group called MAMAN.
Well, I'm from the Montrose Resilience Group, which is an offshoot of the Township Group, who really try to engage our community to build connections and make it a nice place to live, really.
So me, I just can't read properly. The initiative is called MAMAN.
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 Mam as in harm, MAM as in ham. Talk to me about the initiative.
So we have an initiative called MAMAN, which we'd love to get the message out there more broadly, and we try and do that in a number of ways in any case. MAMAN stands for Meet at Montrose at Midday. So nice and simple acronym. The premise behind it is that after the June 21 storms that we experienced, we found that a lot of people were gravitating towards the centre of town. I don't know, looking for connections, looking for information, not sure what to do with the widespread power outage. So we kind of jumped on that and decided that if we formalised it, everyone in our town would hopefully know that if we have widespread power outages that last for over 24 hours, say, we can all meet, the community can easily arrive at this central location and be updated on information. We've got, as a group, the Resilience Group, really great connections with the CFA and with Council's emergency management team. So we're able to get information and distribute it to our local residents. The other thing we're able to do is potentially collect information from our residents about where they're experiencing issues or need assets or help, and communicate that back to the Victoria Emergency Coordination Centres via the Council Emergency Officers.
Oh, awesome. So tell me about your organisation's role during the Montrose fire, or probably after the Montrose fire as well.
Well, generally our remit is that we definitely don't get involved in the firefighting or any of the emergency services work. That's what the trained people are for, that's right. We really try and bridge the gap and provide a conduit for information between the agencies, whatever they might be, generally through council, and the community. So, for example, in the bushfires, we were receiving information. We're a trusted source within the community, so we were receiving messages on our Facebook page, asking questions for updates, kind of once the fire had passed a little bit, or knowing whether people should stay or leave. And we were able to communicate then with Liz, and because we don't want to provide the updates, there's set channels for that. We're able to feed that back to council and to the CFA in order to help the community get the information that they needed.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So I guess I'll give you a little bit of an opportunity for a bit of a plug here. So if anyone in the local Montrose community or communities more broadly would like to know more information about your initiative and your group, where would they go and how would they find out?
We have a Facebook page at the Montrose Township Group. On there we've got some videos that we actually set up this year with an AusNet grant, a significant AusNet grant, and they are fabulous, and they tell you how to prepare for storms and heat and bushfires. So definitely go along to our YouTube channel or Facebook page to see that. And then for Montrose locals, we'll be at the open day on the 19th of October. And we'll be really encouraging locals to get to know their neighbours so that in the case of an emergency, they can check in on their neighbours before, during and after, and we know that a more connected community responds and recovers better.
No, awesome. It sounds like here in Montrose, particularly on the 19th, is the place to be. Lots of great information and local community connections, not only with CFA but other great community groups that are doing a fantastic job in ensuring that our communities get resilient and stay resilient. Well, speaking of local communities, let's hear now from one of our local Montrose residents that is reflecting upon the Montrose fire and some of their own experiences and lessons from that day.
I remember it feeling quite surreal to begin with and not really understanding how big a deal it was. The fear escalated amongst the community and the severity of it took a while for us to really understand. We could see the smoke, it obviously was very, very visible, and the smell, and we could hear the sirens, and so you were acutely aware that it was in your township. We were kind of quite away from where it was ourselves, but we really didn't know which direction it was going to go, and so everybody was on high alert around what to do next. I think it was really surprising where in Montrose it was. The amount of sort of suburban homes that were at risk, I think, was a wake-up call for many of us. We have a very clear plan to go as a family, and so we were very much keeping an eye on the Vic emergency notifications and the app. We were also watching the CFA on Facebook and things like that. What we've done differently since the fires last year is put more of a concerted effort over winter into upkeeps, and now as we are starting to really turn our attention to the next season, you know, what are we doing in terms of clearing our gutters? Let's look at our plan again. Sometimes when you think about fire and fire risks to your property, you might envisage that your house is the only one on fire, and therefore the local trucks and our amazing volunteers will come and rescue you and your property from the fire. And one of the lessons out of Montrose's fire was that when it is widespread and there's multiple homes at risk and forest and commercial sites, there's a lot for our volunteers to consider, and they are very considered in where they place those resources, and therefore it's probably not realistic to expect in an event like that that the fire truck will come to your house and make everything okay. And that was quite confronting for us as residents to think about, wow, it's really my decision around what I do here and whether I stay or whether I go. And the reinforced part for me is that the decision to leave is mine, and the decision to leave is my husband's and our family's. And you know, fire is so unpredictable and can move so quickly that you can't wait to be told. And so I think that that was a big lesson for everybody, is to really think about what their role is in making decisions that are best for them.
Well, thank you for that great information and update from one of the local residents here in Montrose. Well, I think the cat's out of the bag, Tom. People, I think, are getting a sense of what's going on here, particularly the CFA members that are out watching tonight. But for anyone that hasn't met, I've got Tom here from the Montrose Fire Brigade. And Tom, we're going to do something that saves lives, aren't we?
Yes, so for the training drill tonight, Chief, we're going to be doing a burnover drill.
Yep.
For the scenario, we've got one line of 38 mil out, one line, one length. We have a firefighter going to be spraying water as your typical incident, and there'll be an enactment for a burnover drill, and then we'll, unfortunately for this drill, you're in the back seat, but we've got a crew ready to go, so whenever you're ready, we'll go for it.
I guess firstly talk, because there'll be a lot of people watching tonight that don't know what a burnover drill is or why we do it. And in fact, for anyone that is on the fire ground, it is a requirement to be current in the entrapment drill, to be on a truck, on a fire ground during the summer season. Tell us why we do this activity.
Okay, unfortunately, because of the nature that we're in, we get ourselves into some interesting situations. So, and the nature of the fire, we don't know the controllability of it. So sometimes we need to utilise our vehicles and our equipment that we have to protect ourselves and our crew. And that could be crews from other vehicles as well that we might come across. So the practice is for all members operational to be doing the burnover drill as part of the chief expectations. Also the has trees and the minimum skills. So for this here, we're going to be deploying into the cab when the buzzers or siren or horn activates, and then we're using our crew protection to protect ourselves in the event we get a burnover drill or the truck become immobilised for whatever particular reason.
So this drill is designed to save firefighters' lives when they find themselves in the unfortunate situation. Now, preferably as chief, I'd prefer people not to be in this situation, but if they do find themselves in a situation when they're about to be entrapped and encroached by a fire, this drill is designed to give them the best chance of survival. And it is at this point I'd like to acknowledge the lessons learned and pay my respect and condolence to the families of the 6 Geelong West firefighters that died over the course of entrapment during the Linton fires. And it is the reason why, and in their ultimate sacrifice is honoured by all firefighters doing this to ensure that no future chief ever has to make the call or visit the families as a result of fatalities due to entrapment. So, all right, Rob. So let's step through the drill.
Yep. So what we currently have is we've got a firefighter spraying water around So they're spraying water as we simulate, and then we're going to have a scenario base where we'll have 3 blasts of the horn, and that simulates that we need to get back to our truck because for whatever reason the crew leader or one of the crew, it's all responsibility, have identified there's a risk or a hazard to us as a firefighter, and we want to get back to the truck as quickly and safely as possible.
So what people might not know is in CFA, that is the emergency signal, whether it be in a bushfire or in an urban environment, you are in immediate danger, you must retreat and get out. So talk us through what happens.
So what's happened is the firefighter on the line has just cracked the branch over slowly. We're going to make our way to the back of the truck. We're going to prepare the pump and the truck for the drill. Yes. So we're going to shut off our line.
Yep.
So that doesn't mean the truck and then they left the branch open a
little bit, wasn't it? So that you're able to shut that off and disconnect the hose without having that pressure issue.
Yep, and we don't want to have the hose as an anchor, or we also don't want to have the hose. We can desperately.
System designed to run at idle.
Yes.
All right, so we're going in. I better make sure I got my flap up. 3 points of contact. Okay, so we're in the truck. Talk us through the next steps.
Okay, so we're now in the truck. So now we're preparing the vehicle for the internals of our burnover drill. So first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be turning my flashing headlights on, be making sure my air conditioning's on and it's on recirculate, so it's bringing the air in for the cab. We're on high, make sure it's nice and cool, and then we're going to start deploying the curtains. So on this vehicle there's a series of curtains that we can roll down. We want to make sure they're all tucked in nice and neat to protect ourselves.
So the curtains are for what, to protect us from radiant heat?
Radiant heat, also to try and protect us from if the windscreen for some reason has a crack or a fracture or damages, it's less likely for the crew to be exposed by that glass. In the event that something does happen, we can also use our fire blanket, Jalowicki, located behind the seats, Chief.
Behind the seats, yes.
Which we'll need them for one for each crew member.
So we hand them over.
We can also use these up against the window if needed. I'll pass that to the crew leader. There you go. Thank you. So what we want to do is actually get down nice and low underneath our blankets.
Now, if this was real, we'd be constantly communicating with ourselves around, what are we doing, how are we doing it, checking in on everyone?
Correct. And the next step we're going to be with the crew leaders instruction. We're going to deploy the crew protection spray. At the same time, they'll be transmitting a Mayday message, which will give the vehicle's identification number for aerial support, also our location, and a brief situation as to what's happening. So example might be that 4 crew in the vehicle, trucks become immobilised for whatever particular reason. We're going into burnover drill because the front has hit us from the north, south, east, west.
Let's issue that Mayday.
For training purposes only, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Montrose Tanker 1, aerial ID 81 Alpha Golf. GPS location 538139. Montrose Tanker 1 has been immobilised and the fire front is upon us, requesting aerial support.
So then with our crew leader's instructions, we'll then turn the crew protection spray on. That could be done by any member, but the crew leader can do that one. And then we'll see the spray start deploying over the vehicle.
And we'll note a green light has now been activated.
Correct.
What does that tell us?
So that lets us know that the system is activated. This light is also in the back of the truck as well. On this truck it's fitted with a shield that comes over, so for the event that you're in the back of the truck, you'll have the same thing. And you can also turn the crew protection spray on from the back as well. So there's a few different points.
Yep. All right, so we would now cover ourselves?
Correct, we'll get down low. We're going to make sure that all our crew are okay. We also have some bottles of water in the truck as well to make sure in case we need to hydrate. And then we will wait for, at some point, we'll acknowledge that the fire front has passed, and then we will check our windows, and we would then turn off our crew protection spray when we're ready to go. We'll turn that off.
All right. Have we passed?
Yep, we're passed.
All right.
So then what we'll do is, depending on the situation, we would then get out of the vehicle when safe to do so, inspect the vehicle, and then pass the message on to our relevant communication methods as to the situation.
All passed.
One of the initiatives at Montrose, we have these little quick reference guides we put on the visor, which is what the crew leader was discussing. Yes. And it just gives a very quick prompt as to in the event that you do forget one of the simple steps, because it does get a very challenging situation if we have to go on this. There's a quick little prompt there. So sometimes we give these to the crew in the back so then they can just quickly read through so the driver can enact doing what they need to do at the same time.
So we continue to be communicating with each other, checking on each other, making sure everyone is okay. Look, it is likely that perhaps parts of the truck are on fire by this stage. So once the fire front has passed, we've looked, we've seen it's clear or clear enough, safe for us to exit the vehicle. So exit the vehicle, and then what?
So exit the vehicle, so 3 points of contact. We want to make sure we're back in our full PPE, which are helmets, gloves, P2 masks. From there, then we'll be identifying if we can safely stay with the vehicle, or hopefully at that stage we have some support come through on the radio, maybe another tank, another vehicle that can come meet us. Also, if we do want to leave the vehicle, we want to make sure we take the first aid kit, just in the event anything happens. At some point in the event, vehicle may become inoperable or we'll not be able to do it. We might need to find another spot to shelter. We'll take our dry blankets, some water, first aid kit. We might hide behind a large object, rock, structure that can protect us. And very similar to what we did in the cab, we can also lay down behind that object, put the dry blanket over us where we're nice and dry, and then we can use that to protect us in the event we're away from the vehicle.
I notice you've said it a couple of times, which is really good. It's a question I do get asked because community members carry blankets in their car as well, because the drill we've just done, aside from the curtains and the special sprays that we have on the truck, can be done by a member of the public in their car if they're found to be encroached by fire. Now it's dry. Why we want to make sure it stays dry?
If it's dry, you'll eliminate the chance of steam burn. So obviously if the blanket's wet and the heat, you'll start getting steam, and that will obviously affect your body temperature and obviously run the risk of some form of burns. So best if we all can stay dry with your clothing and making sure the clothing is suitable underneath your garment as well. So nice woolen clothing. It will get a bit warm, but obviously it's the best protection method for you.
Now we've done it in a training simulated environment here tonight, but when it really does happen, firefighters that I've spoken to that have experienced and gone through this drill in real life, it is pitch black, it is noisy, embers are hitting the truck. It is really quite scary, isn't it? Which is why we do this annually, because it's about getting that muscle memory, isn't it? That when it happens, it's just second nature.
Yeah, 100% correct.
Our crew leader gave the Mayday call. So talk us through why. Obviously we want to let people know we're in trouble, but why else would we be doing that Mayday call?
It's basically just give a situational awareness as to where the vehicle's located. Obviously, one, we're looking for assistance as well because of whatever the situation the crew's been in. You may have to do that Mayday call on a few different channels as well. You may find that you're on a Fireguard channel and people may not hear you because of your location. You may have to change to a dispatch channel. So all your situational will change depending on your scenario in. The main point of the Mayday is making sure that people know that you're in distress and that you need help straight away.
And we gave the aerial ID because if by chance there is a water bombing aircraft around somewhere, they can try and find you and at least give you that hit a water if they can. No guarantee, but
Exactly
if they
right.
can, during the emergency drill. So, I mean, people might have already noticed. I know in District 13 here they already have it. We've just installed our new radios, our new Motorola radios. Some hundreds of millions of dollars investment in replacing those radios. And they are GPS tracked, so when our crew leader pushed the location button, so tells you where you are precisely, and again that radio operator can pinpoint you, aircraft can pinpoint where you are and bring it through. And again, it's about making it as easy as humanly possible for the people in here in what is a very highly stressful situation, isn't it?
And we also have the radios also fitted with the duress button as well. Obviously, for training, we're not using that button because we don't want to have lots of people come and call us.
A lot of people will come.
So, but the videos online, they do show how the duress system works. So that's also another benefit. So if you are in a crew that you'll see the duress button, you want to minimise your communication on the radio until that message is passed and that duress is cleared. So it's also about supporting other crews and brigades around your area, depending on what your location is. And you might find that you're the closest truck able to help. So always good that you are listening in at all times, either on a portable or on the truck radio, to listen out for those maydays, or look out for the orange duress button, which will identify that there's something going on. And it might not be about a burnover. It could be someone that's hurt themselves in the fireground that needs medical attention and the crew are unable to help. So it may not just relate to what we're doing tonight. It could be many other reasons why.
Excellent. Well, thank you both. Feel very safe, and thanks for the Montrose Fire Brigade, because I've now done my entrapment drill, so I'm going to sweet talk the captain later to see whether he'll sign me off and make sure my records are up to date for this season. But look, we practice in the hope that we never have to undertake this emergency action drill. But if we do, our members are well trained and able to do that. And these trucks are designed, everything is designed to offer our people, including our PPC, the best protection for when they find themselves in this situation. So it's that time again for our training update, where Rowan will take us through what's new in training.
Thanks, Chief, and welcome to tonight's training update. Tonight I want to talk about a couple of things, particularly, firstly, our training enhancement program. For those who aren't aware, when the Chief joined CFA in 2020, he heard a lot of our members talking about the challenges we have with training, and he undertook to implement a review into training, which is known as the AFAC peer review into training, which had independent bodies come and have a look and talk to our members about the challenges we have in training. That recommendation, or that review, came up with 14 recommendations. Those recommendations are progressively being addressed and improvements adopted as we progress now 5 years later. What the AFAC review and the 14 recommendations has led us to, on top of a review into the Brigade's operating model, is what we now know as the Training Enhancement Program. The Training Enhancement Program is part of the operating model service delivery deliverable number 6. For those who want to have a look on members online, you can have a look under resources, look at the operating model projects, and SD6, the Training Enhancement Program, will give you a good overview of what's happening in the TEP and what we're doing to try and improve training in CFA. What I want to do is start to pick up on some of the details within the Training Enhancement Program, and tonight I'll pick up on Deliverable 5, which fits within the scope of maturing our training offering to our members and our organisation. Deliverable 5 really tries to shift our thinking around training policies and procedures away from learning governance or learning practice notes. So we're trying to really lift the level of policy and procedure and adherence to ensure we can offer a consistent way of offering training within CFA. We hear all the time that our members, something happens differently from one district to another. Training is offered differently. There are different requirements, different standards. What we're trying to do with Deliverable 5 is to align all of our policies around training and our procedures around training so that we've got a consistent set of rules of how we do training. That was called out in the AFAC review, and we're working really hard to do that. So CFA has done obviously the work around the policy, the training policies, and our training governance committee, and is working our way through the 8 procedures that we've got on the table and have implemented, and a whole range of other procedures that we'll continue to work on. So when we release or develop a procedure, that replaces a learning practice note. We produce it through consultation. We then put it out for further consultation, same as our other policies and procedures within CFA under that framework. And then we seek endorsement through the Training Governance Committee. The 8 procedures that have already been released that replace the previous learning practice notes have been formalised and adopted. So of the 8 procedures that are currently being adopted, and members can review these on Members Online, is firstly the Training Governance Policy, the Training Appeals Procedure, so allowing members to formally appeal decisions around training, a Training Assessments Procedure in how we deal with assessments, Training Enrolments Procedure, obviously for an enrolment process, Instructor Credentials and Selection Procedure. And I'll hone on that one just for a minute, because what we hear from time to time with our instructors is the requirements they need to meet across the state vary from location to location. We have adopted a procedure that is aimed at supporting our instructors to be endorsed to deliver courses. They need to have, obviously, the trainer and assessor qualifications. They need to be hold the competency in which they're delivering. They need to have done a handover, and they need to have been co-delivered one course. Once they've done that, then the MLD has the opportunity and is asked to consider them for endorsement to deliver courses. So we're trying to reduce some of the red tape and to limit the amount of unnecessary repetitive course delivery for a member to be able to go out and do that. Now, that'll vary a little bit from the person, individual's confidence in delivering, but that's a conversation we'll have with each instructor as we're looking at delivering. And if the instructors need more time, then we'll give them more time. But if they're ready to go, then let's get them out there delivering, because that's what you're looking for. We've also adopted a recognised practitioner procedure for some courses, so we know that we don't have a full number of instructors that are aligned to deliver courses. So a recognised practitioner procedure allows us to use qualified instructors alongside recognised practitioners to co-deliver a course. Things like incident management, that will be vital as we continue to roll out IMT training, for an example. Recognise prior learning procedure, so really trying to get consistency in how we manage that. Recognition of qualifications issued by other RTOs procedure, and we know that is an emerging area that we really need to focus on and have built the procedure for. Recognition of qualifications, reasonable adjustment procedure, so how do we go about supporting members who have additional needs in their training style and the support they get for training. And then there's a range that are finalised but not yet released. So firstly, a third-party arrangements procedure in how we adopt and utilise third-party providers. Continuous improvement procedure, so it's really documenting how we continue to make those appropriate changes in our courses. Plagiarism and unauthorised collaboration procedure. And whilst we have really good collaboration across the agencies, we do need to make sure that we respect that. There's also 9 remaining procedures that will be open to consultation in coming months. And so I would encourage people to look out for these, particularly if you've got an interest in that area. Further information on Training Enhancement Program can also be found on Members Online. As I mentioned earlier, if members want to look at each of the elements around the Training Enhancement Program. So that's a little bit about one of the deliverables, Deliverable 5, and it also picks up on the broader Training Enhancement Program. As we're moving forward to the summer season, I know people are flat out preparing for summer. You know, we've got a number of exercises and fire awareness opportunities in the next little while coming up, and people are really focused on getting ready for summer. Every year we produce a pre-season briefing, particularly at crew leaders. Again, that crew leader briefing, or that pre-season briefing as I should call it, is now available on the LMS. So your ACFOs of your districts will have versions of this available to them. But if members don't or aren't able to attend a briefing and they would like to see the pre-season briefing, you don't need to be a crew leader to view it. Any member can go online and view the pre-season briefing package. It's available all on the LMS. That will hopefully help prepare people for the summer ahead. That's it for tonight's update. I'll pass back to you. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Ryan, for that update on training. Rather insightful as usual, and it generally picks up the questions on training, and I know there's plenty there in there that I know the team will start answering for our members as we move along. Well, Matt, Captain, buddy, pal, my friend, what's my chances of getting signed off on entrapment tonight?
Yeah, I reckon I could sign one of those off with our passports.
Passports?
Yeah, so our training officer made a passport, so you can have a look at that, and then we can. I've got a bigger one if you want to.
A bigger one for the visually challenged like myself. Oh yes. So yeah, talk me through this passport.
So our training officer made this, and this is what we train. It's all our minimum skills, our tree hazardous, our burnovers that the brigade does and gets ready for before fire restrictions come in and before summer starts hitting us. So these are just the basic minimum skills that we train on every year. So everyone in the brigade gets one, and we'll all go through it and get signed off.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure it'll get me on the fire ground. Might not get us to Barley Babe, but for my wife watching at home, but at least my passport's is going to be signed for on the fire ground this summer. So that's fantastic. Thanks for that, Matt.
No worries.
So we are in Montrose, the Montrose Fire Brigade, and we're going to call up to the microphone the Montrose historian extraordinaire, who tells me there's not much this gentleman doesn't know about the Montrose Fire Brigade because it's in his blood. Welcome, Rob. Tell us about the Montrose Fire Brigade.
Thanks, Chief. Great to have a bit of a word about the brigade. We are very proud of our brigade. We've been serving the community for nearing 90 years, but the interesting thing is the community's been serving the brigade for that period of time also. So we're very, very intermingled as a community organisation. Hence the fact that we put so much importance and effort into community safety even these days. So the brigade was formed back in about 1938 after some serious fires. It was a public meeting, and there were 38 people that put their hands up to become members of the Montrose Bushfire Brigade. To have the pleasure of being a member, they had to pay £1 entrance fee and supply their own firefighting gear. They decided that the way they would muster is to ring the church bell if there was a fire. And so the brigade developed with the community from there. In 1939, it was an interesting point. There was a significant fire within the community, and the captain of the day, Elf Milne, was said to have written a letter to the government claiming that the brigade required more resources and better resources, and so hence the start of a continuing paper train. I suppose that every captain of every brigade has challenged the organisation thereafter.
Can I show you that tradition still goes on?
Yes, but we've got some pretty fantastic equipment here today within the station to serve the community. So we're very proud of it and we're very appreciative of it. As I said, the brigade grew over a period of time, but it grew as the community did. Montrose was originally a sawmill town. It had agriculture, and it also had a large brickworks. But as the town grew, so did the industry, particularly in the western side. Early 1970s saw a lot of industry, multinational companies, chemicals, plastics, manufacturing, all sorts of things. So as that risk grew, so did the brigade. It became an urban brigade. So with the rural and urban brigade of Montrose, we looked after the northwest face of the Dandenongs, which is quite significant, a large industrial area and also a residential area. So all in all, the brigade had to grow and develop, which it has done so and has continued to do so over that time. We've looked at other risks, for example, LPG, and so we've specialised in that also and developed a response capability with the CFA to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I guess firefighting and fire leadership is running strong in your family. Obviously, you're the ex-captain, and I understand your father was the captain of the Montrose Fire Brigade as well. Is that right?
Yes. Look, my family as a whole has a fairly good grasp, I suppose, on leadership within CFA, leadership within the Sassafras Brigade with my uncle. Dad captained the Olinda Brigade and then the Montrose Brigade for 25 years. My cousin over at Mooroolbark, and then myself here back at Montrose. So yeah, we've had a bit of a turn at looking after our brigades. It then followed through. My son also became involved with the brigade, but has recently moved away, so hasn't followed that tradition. But we're still in it, and we're still strong. Membership also extended as far as my mum. So my mum was the first female captain of the Montrose Fire Brigade, and she took on the communications role, and that would have been back in the late 60s. And in those days, the alerting process for the Montrose Fire Brigade was a telephone at the local butcher shop that my dad ran. And so we would take the calls there, and then Mum would alert the brigade through a siren, and it all went from there.
What a fantastic history and family connection. So Rob, thank you very much for telling us your story. And I got to say, Rob, you can get a job in television, because what people might not know is I had a little microphone faux pas and was madly trying to fix it and getting myself tangled. So I was giving Rob the keep going, and he did a fantastic and sterling job. So thank you for telling us the history of the Montrose Fire Brigade. Well done.
Thanks for the opportunity, Chief.
Well, Liz, we have another guest on the panel. Who do we have here?
We have Fiona.
And who is Fiona?
Fiona is one of my amazing members of my comm safety team. Mm-hmm. I'm lucky here at Montrose that I do have a team underneath me. So I've got, I think there's 4 or 5 of you underneath me. So
we're our minions.
Yeah, my minions.
Community safety minions.
Yeah, that's right. So when we've got the big events like our open day, you do look like a minion. When we've got the big events like our open day and that sort of stuff, mm-hmm. I'm not having to shoulder all of that on my own. I've got the team behind me, and they're all very knowledgeable, mm-hmm. as I am, and get the word out there as well. So there's more of us spreading that word, which is great.
Truck time. Yes. What's that all about?
Well, you tell me. Truck time is a new initiative, and it's about the kids having a look at the trucks, getting to know our equipment, mm-hmm. And all of that sort of thing. So we can do that at events, at schools, in different capabilities.
Trying to, I guess, demystify the fire brigade, get kids comfortable with in the event of emergency, being able to trust the firefighter.
Kids learn in fun ways. Mm-hmm. They're not going to learn a fire message, sitting
certainly
on the
not
floor
standing
with
at
us.
looking at a map.
Not looking at a map, but if they jump on the fire truck and they remember the fire truck and the fun about the fire truck, but then they'll also remember the message that we're telling them as they're jumping on the fire truck, because they retain information like that.
I was going to say that. So why is it so important that we target, fire safety information at young kids?
Kids are sponges.
Mm-hmm. And kids will quite happily tell their parents.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And we see that time and time again, don't we? Like particularly where we see, house fires. The families manage to escape, and we talk to a lot of parents, and they credit having their kids come home from attending school fire sessions and that sort of stuff about installing smoke alarms, having a fire escape plan,
meet at the
get down low,
letterbox.
go, all that sort of stuff. Now that's awesome.
And they might even be future members.
Well, there you go.
That's right.
Get them while they're young.
That's it. I have a photo of my daughter in kinder showing water, and she is a member.
Oh, there you go. Very good. Proud mum moment.
Oh yes, definitely.
Excellent.
And it's a way that we can reach a wider part of the community as well, because I mean we go into schools, but we've had scouts come here and visit, we've had daycare centres come here and visit, we've had kinders,
I had a disability group this morning.
We've had disability groups.
Okay.
So it's that reaching that extra part of the community.
So we've got a little program, I guess I can't call it a little program, it's not a little program, called PAVS in CFA, the Property Advice Visit Service. Tell me a little bit about PAVS.
So PAVS is a great initiative, I think, that you can get somebody from the CFA, they will come out, they will walk around your property with you, they will assess where your potential dangers might be, looking at things like your gutters need cleaning, or maybe you should cut that tree back a little bit from your house and that sort of stuff. So if you are concerned or not feeling confident in that knowledge of how to prepare your property, the PAVS can come out, the PAVS team will come out and they will give you that advice.
It's about tailoring the risk to the individual, to the
your
location.
Property. Yeah.
So we've got a little video on PAVS. Let's have a look to see what the program's all about and get some more information.
So I've been an operational firefighter for many years as a volunteer, and we've had an impact on changing lives and saving lives through our operational response. But hand on heart, I can honestly say I've saved more lives through education and engagement, with more people helping them create their plans. Communities are much better informed, much more empowered to make decisions. Not to say things don't go wrong, but I think we are in a better place and we save more lives through education and people knowing what to do than anything else. So for me, that's the absolute spin-off and end result, in that if I am responding in the big red truck and I come across a house that's well prepared, well looked after, well maintained, it's a blessing. Way back when I was working with CFA and I visited a house out in Hillsville. The residents came into the station one day and just said, "Oh look, we're reasonably new to the area. Can you come and have a look at my property?" So I went out there one day and we did that, and we spent about an hour and a half having a good conversation, giving them some advice. They had a national park nearby and things like that. Lo and behold, Black Saturday came past a couple of years later, and it weighed heavily on me because I knew that area was heavily impacted. So a few months after the event, I held my breath and took a drive down that street, and the house was standing. All the other neighbours' houses were gone, and the resident was actually out in the garden at the time. So I stopped, had a chat, and he recalled my visit, which was awesome. So they had attended other subsequent CFA meetings, so that connection obviously had been made, but they'd lost some sheds and things like that, but the property remained, and I think they were obviously forever grateful on the advice that was given. And for me, that one really sticks out for me, that this stuff can work.
More fantastic information about the Property Advice Visitation Services. And if anyone's wanting more information on PAVS, what it's all about, or how to get involved, or be a recipient of the program, go to the CFA website, cfa.vic.gov.au. Well, Fiona, Liz, we haven't finished quite talking about community engagement, community safety yet, because there's still a number of things that goes on here at Montrose. Community Fireguard.
Yeah, that is a program that I would love to see a lot of our members of Montrose actually take up. So it's really about the neighbourhood. So you can get your street or your court or whatever involved. You all get together, you contact CFA, and they will actually come out, and over 6 sessions we'll get you guys fire ready. And we saw it actually in...
It's like people in the street, people from homes come out, get together, come into my street.
Yep, and so they're all on the same page with their fire plans, with their fire preparedness. We saw it in one of our streets during our fire. They've got a phone tree And so they were calling each other to say, we need to get out, you know, it's right here. And so if they had have had that information, all of their properties would have been in the same state, so they all would have been perfect and ready to go. So it's something I'd love to see a lot more Montrose community pick up, actually.
And it's a great program because they tailor it to the streets. We have such a mix of urban and rural in Montrose. We've got, you know, straight residential streets, and then you've got straight residential streets that some of them don't even realise they back onto a massive bushfire area. So it's getting that education out for the whole street, because you could have the cleanest property and everything, but if you're right next door to someone that everything's overgrown and they don't clean their gutters and they're not prepared at all, then that's not giving your property the best protection. So
anyone watching the forum tonight in the Montrose area who's interested in getting in contact and wanting to establish a community Fireguard program or group, how best can they get in contact with you two lovely members?
They can contact us via Facebook, or they can contact CFA, as you said before, through the website, or give the local district headquarters a call to arrange for someone to set that program up.
Excellent. All right.
Or have a chat to us at open day.
Yes.
Yeah, look there. I was waiting for the plug.
Or the session this Sunday.
Yeah, or the fire
this
safety session
Sunday on the
on Sunday.
19th. That's it.
Right.
We will
well
point
done.
you in the right direction.
Never miss an opportunity.
Never.
Well done. So that's the community Fireguard. So that's the community. Let's have a quick chat about what you're doing in the local schools and some of the resources that we have for kids in schools. And we spoke a little bit about educating young children. Talk me through what's available for schools and young kids.
Well, it was FSK, Fire Safe Kids. It's being changed to FireWise Kids, so that's still in the process of being rolled out. But we will go out and age dependent, have different messages for the kids. So your stop, drop and roll.
Your letterbox.
Yeah,
meet
at the letterbox.
With your parents.
Because again,
get down low and go.
It's all those messages, I suppose, that we were probably taught as kids as well. But they kids are great at going home and talking to. What are you trying to tell me here? You're writing me secret messages.
I'm trying to. No, it's all good. Busted. I guess for people who are watching, some people might be CFA getting out there, educating kids in schools with kids' environments.
All have working with children.
Thank you.
All have working with children. All have our Child Safe Playing Your Part module. There's a very strict guidelines.
There's a lot of learning that we do. Not all the firefighters here in our brigades and other brigades are qualified, if you'd say, to be able to educate the kids in school. There's a lot of learning that we do ourselves to be able to present these programs to kids at a level that they will understand.
And obviously those child safe standards and safeguards are in place. So again, very topical in the community at the moment, which is why I'm keen to raise it, so that CFA has a robust child safety program, and it is about making sure that we do that in a way that keeps our children safe. Yeah, absolutely. Well done. Moving on, I guess, in terms of some of the e-learn, some of the publicly available e-learn packages that the public might not be aware that, if you get onto the CFA learning management system, our external one, that they can do some online learning and training. So prevent, detect, escape as an example, and bushfire safety for workers.
I think that's relevant because we have a lot of people that may not live within Montrose but do travel into Montrose and surrounding areas. So that's very important. If you are working within a bushfire area, you need to know those risks. You might live in a city, but if you're travelling out here, you need to know the risks as well as we do.
And it's not just about people living in those sort of areas and the like. We've got tailored programs for people who might be carers in the NDIS program, or generally just looking after a frail,
elderly,
disabled or infirm loved one, called our How to Support Your Client or you and the person you care for modules. So if you want more information on those programs, feel free to go to the CFA website, into the search bar, and search any of those programs. I said prevent, detect, escape, bushfire safety for workers, how to support your clients, or bushfire planning you and the person you care for. And they're free. they're educational, and they really are designed to support the healthcare sector, the caring sector, and anyone that looks after anyone that might be in a bushfire type environment.
Right. And it's great because they're online, so people can access them at any time. You know, some people can't often make, you know, with work commitments and family commitments, and especially if they're committed to caring for elderly people, they can't pop down to the fire station and have a chat with us. So, you know, they can jump online and they can, you know, get the information.
Excellent. And for anyone that might be looking for more information, in the chat right now, we've just put a link to some of those resources and a link to the e-learning modules as well. So feel free to check them out. More audience participation. Tim, you're back.
Yes, thanks, Chief. Just a quick question in relation to for the CFA team. I'm lucky enough to have the BA glasses in the face mask, and just wanting to know how the CFA look at continue that project as the members' prescription changes and needing to upgrade those. For me, it's been great being able to do a lot of additional courses because I have the ability to see clearer, more clarity, and especially with the equipment getting smaller and smaller and more detailed inside there.
Look, as far as I know, it's all still available. You just go through your district office. I know Paul Santamaria and Danny Jones are online, so if I've given a bit of a faux pas, I'm sure they'll whack it in the chat to let me know. But otherwise, at the back of the room, put your hand up. My staff officer extraordinaire, Brendan Lawson. Go and have a chat to Brendan, and he'll hunt that down for me and make sure it gets circled back to the Montrose Fire Brigade, the information that you need. So
awesome.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
All right, well, it's been a bit of a busy night. We've spoken about a lot. Matt, sorry, I know you've been sitting off to the side here, but I've got to say, Fiona and Liz have been very engaging. I can see why you've got them doing community engagement.
They do a good job, the whole team. Liz and her team, they do a great job, especially through the fire that we had back in March and continuing on. Yeah. I'd be lost without them, and they're a great value to our team.
Well, no better endorsement if I've ever heard one. No, so, no, well done. Well, that will be. Hang on, no, we've got another audience question here, and Brad's going to flick me the name. Glenn, welcome.
G'day, Jason and team. Thanks for hosting tonight. Glenn Crawford from Clifton the Patch Fire Brigade. My question is about electrification of the truck fleet. I understand ACT have a trial truck, which has had mixed results, and I understand also FRV have an electrified truck as well. Is there a plan for CFA to look into trialling some electrification of trucks in the truck fleet?
So so what Glenn might be referring to there, as people might be aware, so in Victoria, Fire Rescue Victoria have Evie, which is an electric pump that is currently doing the rounds around the stations in Melbourne and being trialled. So it has been a discussion, and I know our board member here this evening, Peter Shaw, would know that it's been discussed at the board as well. Yep. We are very interested in understanding the uses of the electric trucks, particularly looking at the experiences of Fire Rescue Victoria and looking at the experiences of the ACT Fire and Rescue. We're in a bit of a nuanced environment, so some of the things that we need to think about is duration, the usability time, and also, I guess, electric vehicles by nature of them are considerably more heavy as well. So there are a lot of factors that we need to look through, but certainly rest assured it is a conversation that's been had at the highest levels of our organisation, and we're very keen to understand the learnings from Fire Rescue Victoria and our other national partners to sort of see where CFA can go. That's the truck side of it. What I can tell you is in our white fleet, so our pool cars, our staff cars, we've got a high number of and a high percentage of EV vehicles. So we're doing our bit for ESG. So it is something that CFA is investing in and working towards. But as I said, we need to understand a little bit more in the operating environment that we're in before we sort of go through the electrification process of our fire trucks. I'm sure one day we will get there. It is about our learnings and understanding how we might move forward.
Great answer. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you for your question. Well, that will conclude tonight. Thank you everyone for joining this evening and participating. My particular thanks to Matt for having us here tonight. Well done to Liz, to Fiona. Thank you. It's a very engaging conversation and I can see you're very passionate about community safety, community engagement. And just one more time, the plug.
FSC session this Sunday 1:30 here at the station, and open day October 19th, 10 o'clock till 3 p.m.
Given to you in stereo. Well done, team, and thank you for coming along. And to Michelle, thank you for coming onto the panel and telling us about important community involvement in community resilience and getting ready for fire season and also the aftermath of fires. And as always, to the team behind the desk that make the magic happen, that we wouldn't be able to broadcast these forums without them. To Martin Anderson, Beth Ramshaw, to my executive producer, Bradley Thomas, and to Alison Smirnoff, thank you for a job well done this evening. It's been an enjoyable forum. And I look forward to joining you again at our next forum at Wye River, where we'll talk many things, but in particular will be around our cultural journey, and also DCO Luke will also be on the panel to talk about LMS, which I know has been a bit of a hot topic across the organisation, particularly here. We're in District 13, so we'll give you some updates there as well. I'd also like to add and point out, I did see in the chat here this evening, we are always very mindful of where we do go. We are conscious to do city, country, the larger type brigades and the smaller tin shed type brigades. So we are very keen to get out into the tin shed brigades, I guess, as it was put into the chat. But I will preface that by saying, as we do get closer into the FDP and the risks, because of the people involved in putting the production together and because of myself needing to be within striking distance of Melbourne, we are somewhat limited during that time, but rest assured, I have given my commitment and am very keen to head bush to talk to the good people in rural and regional Victoria. So with that, thank you very much this evening to our live audience tonight. Thank you for coming along. You've been fantastic. Have a great evening and stay safe.